Ah, the movie video game. How many times have you been watching a movie and thought to yourself, now this would be an amazing video game concept? That's why it's particularly frustrating when most video games based on movies are just cheap cash-ins that leave us with abominations such as E.T., Charlie's Angels, Bad Boys 2 Miami Takedown, and Austin Powers Pinball. But sometimes, on a rare occasion, video games based on movies can be amazing. In fact, they can sometimes even eclipse the film. And today we're going to be talking about the 10 best video games based on movies.
Now in this list we're looking for games that give you an authentic experience of what the world in the movie is supposed to be like, and whilst it doesn't have to follow the script of the movie exactly, we'll give extra credit where it does. So without further ado, here's our number 10, The Thing. The Thing video game serves as a sequel to the 1982 John Carpenter movie, and it's a third-person survival horror game, which is a bold choice when you're going up against the likes of the Resident Evil series. But this game has turned out brilliantly and managed to shift well over 1 million copies, and for good reason, because The Thing is a truly immersive game that is loyal to the feel that's developed in the movie. It makes you feel truly alone when you're stuck outside and you're at the mercy of the elements. Make sure you can manage your supplies, your team, and your mental state if you're to survive this great psychological horror game. Number 9. The Warriors. Rockstar Games developed and released The Warriors a full 26 years after the release of the original movie, so it came as somewhat of a surprise that the franchise would be revisited. And the result is a very simple and very violent beat-em-up game that provides varied gameplay with chase sequences, stealth missions, and graffiti missions to accompany the mindless violence. In short, this video game is the perfect accompaniment to the 1979 action thriller film that has now received cult status. Number 8. The Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King. One of the best things about this hack and slash adventure is how alive the battles feel in the game. And not only that, at the very start of the game it doesn't have a menu screen or anything like that, it just launches you straight into the combat and overwhelms you to immediately immerse you in chaotic combat. It comes complete with a co-op mode so you can discover the drama with a friend, and there's plenty to do with fellowship upgrades purchasable for all characters. The filmmakers worked closely with the development team on this game with reference photos, models, drawings and props to make sure that this was truly an authentic Lord of the Rings experience. Developers at EA said that the goal of the game wasn't just to retell the story of the movie, but it was to give you a true authentic experience of what the Lord of the Rings worlds were actually like in those intense battles, and on that level they've knocked out of the park. Number 7. Ghostbusters, the video game. Not the new one, the 2009 version, just to be very clear on that one. There's lots to love about this Ghostbusters game, but let's start with the cast. We've got Dan Aykroyd, Harold Ramis, Ernie Hudson, and the legendary Bill Murray, all lending their voices to this project to make sure that it really felt like the original Ghostbusters movies. And instead of just rehash the plot in the movie, Dan Aykroyd even went on to say that this game effectively serves as the third movie. The game has been widely praised for its fun-filled gameplay and charm throughout, and consumers also seem to agree, who have bought up over 1 million copies of the game. What's also fun about the game from a development standpoint is that Bill Murray actually made several of his Bill Murray-esque demands, including equal screen time for all of his Ghostbuster companions, because he was that dedicated to making sure they got it just right. Number 6. Chronicles of Riddick, Escape from Butcher Bay. We're looking for games that can give us an authentic experience of the movie, but this one goes beyond that. This one completely eclipses the movie. Because whilst most critics feel that Chronicles of Riddick is somewhat of an average movie franchise, it's definitely not an average game franchise. These games are fantastic. Escape from Butcher Bay is a first-person outing, and it details Riddick's escape from a maximum security prison. Vin Diesel was also on hand to lend his voice to the game in arguably one of his finest outings yet. In at number 5, Aladdin. Now we're talking about the Genesis or Mega Drive version, because the SNES one, let's be honest, is rubbish compared to this one. Aladdin for the Mega Drive, or Genesis as you call it over in the States, was just fantastic. It just nailed it. Virgin Interactive were on fire at this time, and it had everything that you would want from a Disney video game. The music, the level design, the enemies, the humor, the sword buckling, the apple throwing, the snake charmers, it had absolutely everything. This captured the Aladdin universe perfectly, with a mix of humor and intensity in all the right places. Number 4. Star Wars Rogue Squadron 2 Rogue Leader. This is a tough one because there are a whole host of amazing Star Wars games of all different genres. This is one of the most successful movie franchises of all time, and they've got amazing games to match. So why this one? We had a tough time choosing between this one and Knights of the Old Republic, but the reason that we went with Rogue Leader is because not only is it visually amazing and plays like a dream, it also revolves very closely around scenes in the movie. In this game, you can recreate the scene where you destroy the Death Star in all of its glory, and if you're looking for a Star Wars movie video game, you just can't beat that. Number 3, Dune 2. Dune 2 is based on the film Dune by David Lynch, which is based on the Frank Herbert novels around the Dune series. Do you follow me so far? Well, the reason this game is so amazing is because not only is it fantastic in its own right, it also holds a very important place in gaming history, because this game was really seen as the blueprint for real-time strategy games to follow, such as Warcraft and Starcraft and Command & Conquer and other games like that. Dune 2 is widely regarded as the precursor to a lot of the modern day real-time strategy games that we know and love, with a focus on resource gathering, base development and unit construction. It just goes to show that inspiration can come from everywhere, because most of our favourite RTS games were inspired by a game, inspired by a movie, inspired by a book. Number 2, Die Hard Trilogy. For me, this is the absolute opposite of a cash-in. Instead of just releasing a cheap, easy movie tie-in just to bring in the cash, no. Let's do the opposite. Let's give them 3 games for the price of 1. In Die Hard Trilogy, you had a different game for each different movie, and not only were they different games, they were different genres. For Die Hard, you had a third-person shooter, for Die Harder, you had this Time Crisis-style shooter, and Die Hard with a Vengeance, that's the standout for me. You had this driving action that, in my opinion, has clearly influenced the Grand Theft Auto series, because Grand Theft Auto 3 looks an awful lot like the driving from Die Hard with a Vengeance. It's like an insane cross between GTA and Crazy Taxi, as you have to get to the various checkpoints within the time limits. It's outrageous fun and a fantastic value for money title. Number 1. It could only be one thing. GoldenEye 007 for the N64. This game is simply revolutionary. It's still talked about to this day. It's one of the greatest multiplayer experiences ever, and it's about as close to a perfect game as you can possibly be. The movie was badass, but this game far surpassed it. This was an absolute milestone in gaming, and it holds a special place in the hearts of many people now in their 20s and 30s, because this game is the foundation for many friendships and heated rivalries all across the school. GoldenEye 007 was a bona fide classic, and you can see the influence that it's had on the modern day first-person shooter. And who could forget the level design and the satisfying sounds of that pistol. GoldenEye 007, we salute you as the greatest movie video game of all time. I've been Joe Hendry. If you want to follow me on Twitter, it's at Joe S. Hendry. We've been What Culture Gaming, and make sure that you like, share and subscribe. Thank you so much for watching this video, and we shall see you next time.